Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. My name is wAFF, and this is my review for episode 5 of the Book of Bobba Fett. So just a warning, this is going to be full spoilers. This episode you basically cannot talk about without spoiling anything. I don't know how you do it without spoiling anything, so it's full spoilers. So at the end of episode 4, we were aware that we're going to end up seeing Mando at some point. Like, it was obvious, we knew it, it was very clear as day, and I knew it was going to happen at some point, but I did not realize, well, I didn't expect to see him so soon. It happened so fast, like literally straight out the gate. On this episode, as soon as it starts, we see Mando. Mando is there. He's now on some new planet, which I'll talk about in a second, but he's in some meat factory. There's a load of Klatooinians that are there working in this factory, and he's looking, well, he has a bounty that's out for this guy called Cababayas, and Mando comes across one of the Klatooinians who is Cababayas, tells him that he's got a bounty on his head. Cababayas is denying that it's even him, and Mando says one of the coolest lines that he said before, which is, "I'll either take you in warm or I'll take you in cold." It's just such a cool thing that Mando says. Mando's badass. This episode really shows you once again, how cool and how good and how badass Mando is. And this is just one of them cool lines that he says that are like, "You're the man." So with this, all the Klatooinians in this room start to jump on Mando. They're all biting him, they're fighting him. And this really, really cool fight scene happens where Mando is fighting all the Klatooinians, but he then actually pulls out the Darksaber and starts taking out all these guys with the Darksaber. And I thought this was sick because as I remember, I feel like he gave the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. And maybe I'm wrong, my memory is not that great of the Mandalorian Series 2. I remember a lot of it, but some details I'm kind of forgetting. So I was surprised personally to see the Darksaber, but it was such a cool thing. The scene was so cool. Mando's literally like destroying everybody with his saber. He's also like struggling to fight with it. At one point it's like heavy and it's dragging on the floor, which again I'll go into in a second. But this whole scene was really, really cool. But not only that, it felt like a really dark tone. It felt like it was a lot darker than most Star Wars stuff. Like this scene alone, we're in a meat factory where all these dead animals hanging about, which is, for me, I think that's horrible anyway. But then he's literally stabbing people, he's chopping people up, slicing through people with a Darksaber, and then at the very end of this whole fight sequence, he stabs Cababayas in the heart or in the chest, picks him up, throws him on top of the table. Then he gets the Darksaber and slices right through his whole body and the table. That, for me, I was like, whoa, he is actually like proper murdered everyone here, and they've pretty much shown you that. Like, I mean, obviously everyone's getting murdered at all points in Star Wars when they're all fighting, of course, but I feel like this scene was like a lot more graphic than a lot of Star Wars Disney stuff. Like, just seeing the blade go right through Cababayas and through the table, I was a bit shocked by that. Not shocked because I don't like it. I love that. I wish we were seeing guts and stuff flying everywhere, but obviously we're not gonna. But yeah, I just was like, oh shit, they're actually showing that blade go right through his body. And I don't know, I just thought, I really liked it, but it was definitely a dark tone to it. Mando then takes Cababayas' head and he delivers it to, I don't know, this table of people. There's like different weird aliens are sat about, and this woman is like, she wants him to sit down and have food with them. And Mando doesn't want to, he just wants to get information as to where to find the armorer. It doesn't really reveal it's the armorer at this point, but we find out it is the armorer. She doesn't want to give out any information, but eventually Mando's like, well, I'll just take the bounty because I can get the money from somewhere else. So eventually he agrees to give it to her. She tells him where the armorer is, and then Mando goes off on this little journey to try and find her. And I really, really liked this moment because I liked how this episode, it took like a little moment of calmness after the fight scene, at the opening fight scene, to just be with Mando as he's walking around slowly and just going through this part of this planet, this whole new planet. I don't know what the planet's called. They've definitely took inspiration from Halo because it literally looks like you're on Halo. Like the Halo rings in Halo, it is the same thing. And I really, really like that. I think that was sick. I just really liked that. I hope they took inspiration from it. 100% they have, because it's basically Halo. it's a really cool planet, and you guys can tell me if this is a real planet in Star Wars lore. I don't know, but anyway, I liked that we're on a new planet. It's not Tatooine, it's somewhere else, and it just took a moment of Mando walking from A to B to find the armorer, and it was just like a slow moment, and it was just really cool. Like, we got to see a lot of the environments, and there's a really cool shot where Mando just kind of stood there, and in the background there's like a train that goes past, like a space train. There's like some, I don't know, it's just some sort of cool environment, and it just feels like he was really there. I just thought they did a good job at making you feel in that moment with him, and yeah, I just really liked it. Anyway, Mando eventually finds the armorer and Paz Vizsla, and Mando's trying to walk down the stairs, but he's struggling because in the fight, the opening fight scene, Mando actually catches himself with the Darksaber and like hurts his leg. And I thought this was funny. It's just a really stupid small detail that I noticed, but if you go back and watch it, I'm pretty sure this is right. But Mando's walking down the stairs to where the armor is and Paz Vizsla, but when he gets to the final step, he collapses, but he collapses on his good leg, not his bad leg. And I just thought that was funny, because obviously you wouldn't collapse on your good leg because your good leg's good. You would fall down on your bad leg, but you didn't. You fell on your good leg. But at the end of the day, it's just an actor being an actor. Who cares? Just a stupid little detail that I noticed, and it just made me laugh. Anyway, Mando's on the floor. Paz Vizsla's healing him with some sort of healing gun, and then Mando reveals to the armorer that he has the Darksaber. He gives it to her, but she explains that she can't just accept it because the Darksaber has to be in possession of someone that's won it through battle. So you can only really possess the Darksaber if you've won it through battle. If you don't, and you actually steal it from someone, or you get given it, or you find it, or however million ways you could get it other than fighting someone, she explains that the world could fall into darkness, and it's a really bad thing to have. You should not have the Darksaber unless you actually deserve it and you've won it through battle. So that was an interesting fact. I feel like we understood that before. I feel like I knew that before, but again, it was just some cool information about the Darksaber. The Darksaber is a really interesting weapon. I've looked into loads more since Mandalorian series, and I just love the fact that this is a weapon. It's really cool. And I don't know, it was just interesting to know about it. And obviously, we get a really cool scene where Mando is training with the armorer, and he's struggling to use it. He's struggling to use the Darksaber. It's really heavy, and this is something that I never knew about it, but the Darksaber is really heavy. And if you want to use it, you have to be one with it. You can't fight against it, and she has explained this to Mando, is that you can't just fight against the weapon. You need to be one with the blade and fight together with the blade on the opponent. You have to fight the opponent, not the blade. So it's a really interesting moment where you get to learn more about the Darksaber, and I thought it was a really fun fact, and it just gives the Darksaber a lot more mystery and power, and I don't know, I like it when something has a lot more depth than just being a thing. The fact that it's got all these levels and these details to it just makes it even more of an important, significant item within the Star Wars world. So I really like that. Also, just before I forget, there was a really cool scene where it's like a flashback where the armor is explaining the Great Purge, and we have this moment which is literally something out of Terminator. Like, they 100% have got... They took inspiration. It's a throwback to Terminator. It has to be, because it's exactly the same. It's like this post-apocalyptic, like, destroyed planet, and there's all these AI machines walking about, and they've got red eyes, and they're shooting lasers out the guns, and it's like, it just looks exactly like Judgment Day. It's got to be. Yeah, I really like that. It was just a cool thing, a little bit of information on lore, and a little bit of backstory about just the Star Wars universe itself, and just, I really like that. Then we get Paz Vizsla, the bastard. He wants to take the Darksaber off Mando in a duel. He wants to fight him for it. So Mando and Paz Vizsla start to have this fight. I didn't know where it was going to go, because there was some moments where Paz Vizsla is actually like beating Mando, and I was like, oh shit, is he gonna actually win? And obviously the saber's so heavy, the more you fight with it, and you're fighting against it, it gets heavier and heavier. So by this point, Mando's already been struggling with it. So I was like, is he even gonna like win this? But he does. He beats Paz Vizsla. He actually puts a knife to his throat. He's about to slit his throat, which is pretty dark as well. But also, then the armorer explains. Well, she doesn't explain. She asks Mando if he's ever taken off his helmet. Paz Vizsla's always like, no, never. And Mando struggles to answer the question, because obviously he has taken off his helmet, and eventually he admits, yes, I have. And with this being said, then the armorer explains to him, well, you're no longer Mandalore, and you no longer can be part of the Creed. It's against the Creed. and the only way to redeem yourself is if that you go to the living waters, which is beneath the mines of Mandalore. But then Mando explains that they've all been destroyed, that they're no longer there, they've all been destroyed. And then the armor explains, well, this is the way. This is the way. So this makes me wonder if Mando's ever going to be able to redeem himself. Maybe he might not ever be able to become Mandalore again, like, properly. Of course, to him, he's still Mandalore, but, like, can he actually redeem himself and be brought back into the Creed? I don't know. I also kind of feel like because Pedro Pascal, who plays Din Djarin, Mando, he has issues with wearing the helmet. That's been revealed, that he didn't like to always be wearing the helmet, and there was all these conversations. I mean, there was a lot of rumors about it, but I think that it is actually true to a certain extent. And maybe this is just a really good way for the writers and Disney and the studio to be able to write now into the Mandalorian season 3 and going forward ways that he can take off his helmet more. I don't know, but it's either going to be that these mines of Mandalore are actually going to be there, and maybe the journey now is Mando is going to go to these mines and try and redeem himself. Or, because they have all been destroyed, maybe it's just a good way for them to write now that he can take off his helmet. I don't know. I like both ideas. The thing is, though, I want him to be able to keep his helmet on the whole time, but I do like Pedro Pascal, and I feel like he's done such a good job as Mando that it would still work if he took his helmet off, but not all the time. Maybe just here and there. I don't know. But that's just what I think. I have no idea what's going to happen. But it's got to be one of them. It has to be one of them two. Also, we know that Mando now wants to go and try and find Grogu just to make sure that he's safe, make sure that he's okay. Obviously, he's missing him. There's a really cool scene where he's sat there and he's got like this little sort of robe thing, and he puts it into the shape of Grogu's head, and I thought it was really cute. It's just so, I just love the relationship between Mando and Grogu, so we know he's now going to go onto a journey to try and find Grogu. So the next scene we have Mando go back to Tatooine to where Peli Motto is, because he wants to recover the Razor Crest. He gets there and realizes that Peli doesn't have the Razor Crest. She's actually got a new spacecraft, which was such a sick moment because two things. One, we got the Easter egg of BD from Jedi Fallen Order, the little droid, the BD droid from Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know which one this is. I don't think it is the same BD from Jedi Fallen Order. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a BD droid. We haven't seen it in live action yet. And I would say it's probably one of my favorite droids. It's dead cute. His little feet like skipping about when he's excited. And also he has like the holographic projection, which he does in the game. He does it in this as well, which was really, really cool to see. So that was a really cool thing. And also, not just that, the main thing is that we get revealed the new spacecraft for Mando, which is actually one of the N1 starfighters from the prequels. I think it's from the Phantom Menace, or maybe, I can't remember which one, but it's a spaceship from the prequels, and it was sick to see. At first I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, is that Anakin's pod racer? And then I was looking at it more, and I was like, no, it isn't, I don't think it is. And I seen the yellow on the side, and I was like, that's one of them spacecraft from the original prequels. So I like that. I like them including some of the prequel stuff now. I want to see more of the prequel stuff, because we only really get the original Star Wars vehicles, really. I don't feel like we've got enough of the prequel stuff, so I'm glad to see this written in there. But not just that, this whole scene next was amazing, where Mando then takes it for a test drive and flies it around the same canyon that Anakin drove through in the pod racing scene. This was sick, and this was a cool as fuck throwback. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. There's some little creatures there that are from the originals and the prequels as well, and just this whole thing was so good. But the spacecraft is just such a sick spaceship. Like, I think it's amazing. I hope that Mando, this is now just his spacecraft. It's so fast, it's so quick, and just like the maneuvers so quickly. It's just a really cool thing. This whole scene where Mando's flying about and he goes into space and around the canyon in this new N1 starfighter was just so cool. I really, really, really did like it. And also now the look of it, they got rid of the yellow and got it silver to match Mando's armor. It was just a cool bit of detail. I really, really did enjoy it. We also get to see some really cool technology. I don't know if we've seen this before in Star Wars, but it's the first time I feel like I've noticed it. But when Mando's in space and he's stopped the M1 and the two X-Wing pilots come over to him and they're trying to just ask for details and some paperwork, and he's kind of getting away with it. Then the next minute they ask him one question and he realizes he hasn't got that for them and he's going to get arrested if he just stays there. So he switches a button and he literally flies off like hyperspeed, but he doesn't actually create hyperspeed. He just, I don't know what the technology is called, I don't remember it now, but there's some technology in the M1 which makes him go like rapid, like so fast, and the X-Wing pilots are just like, Yeah, let's not report this and let's just go back home. I just thought that was a cool thing that now Mando's got 1 of 6 ship. It's an N1 from the prequels, and it's got this technology where he can just zoom off as fast as he can. I just don't know. It's just a cool ship. It's a cool thing for Mando to have. Then Mando brings the ship back down to Tatooine. He lands it. He gets out, and then Fennec appears, and she explains to him that Boba is in need of some muscle, and she asks him basically to come and join them, and offers Mando some money. And Mando refuses the money and says it's on him, so he's happy to go and help Boba. But first, he has to go and find Grogu, and the episode ends here. So now this leaves us to wonder, like, what's going to happen with Din's story. I don't know if we're going to see any more of Din Mando in Boba Fett. I don't know if he's going to appear anymore. Obviously, we've had a full episode of just Mando, no Boba, which I'm going to speak about in a second, but I can't imagine we're going to spend any more time with Mando because it is Boba Fett. So I feel like this is the end of Mando for Boba Fett series, and then maybe Mandalorian season 3 will start off from the end of this episode and just go straight from there, where he goes off on his journey to find Grogu, but also to redeem himself as Mandalore, or just to have his helmet off. Who knows? Well, guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, this whole episode was sick. I absolutely loved it. It was probably my most favorite episode of the series. If you haven't watched my previous video, I explained that I went into the series not expecting too much. I was never a big fan of Boba Fett. I didn't really know who he was really that much until more recently, because I never grew up with the originals. I grew up with the prequels, and obviously we have Jango and Boba in there, but Boba's young in that. So with the originals, I know who Boba Fett was and is, but I just didn't care too much because he was just a side character for me. So I never really had too much expectations with this series. So I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm actually loving it. I think it's great. Apart from the Power Ranger Spy Kids thing, that's the worst thing that's happened in the series so far. But I really do like it. I think the writing's great. I think Jon Favreau is doing an amazing job to write this whole series and nail it with so many cool Easter eggs, so many cool throwbacks, and so many like cool bits of fan service, but like continuing a really cool story. But I do agree Boba Fett probably should be a bit more badass, because Mando in this episode is so badass that he just overpowers Boba Fett's like presence by miles. Boba Fett just doesn't feel as good as Mando at all, and obviously they've written Mando to be so good that I feel like they've got him spot on. But also that comes down to a lot of like expectations. People expect Boba to be a certain way, and he's not being portrayed in the way that a lot of people see him or hope to see him. For me, it's just, this is Boba Fett. I don't know what Boba Fett was before, apart from just a side character. Do you know what I mean? So I'm loving it. I am loving it. Just get rid of the Power Ranger kids, and I'm absolutely loving this. This is great for me. It's just great entertainment. I love all the episodes. Episode 3 was the worst, but I would say this and episode 2 are my favorite. It's hard to pick one because episode 2 was just so good. I thought the whole Tuscans and being with the tribe of the Tuscans and getting to sort of get to know them, and then the whole train sequence, it was just so epic, and I got a lot from it. A lot of like Dances with Wolves references, and the whole story with Boba becoming one with the tribe of the Tuscans, and just how it's like a western, and I loved it. So it's very difficult to say, but maybe this might be the best episode of the series so far. I don't know, but for me, if I were to rate this, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please drop me a like. I'd love to know down below in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys enjoy this? Are you enjoying the series so far? What do you enjoy and what don't you enjoy? I'd love to know what your thoughts are down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already and you want to stay updated with my content, please hit the subscribe button. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on wAFFwORLD.